Welcome to POSTCAST. David Locke along with Ron Boone after the Utah Jazz drop a tough one to the Detroit Pistons in a game that, frankly, the Jazz probably think they should have won and will kick themselves about. Will be interesting to see how frustrated the reaction is post-game. We're talking about it coming up here on POSTCAST. Thanks very much for tuning in. Jazz lose 125-116 to the Pistons, who came in 4-15, had played the night before in Denver and won. We're on the fifth game of a road trip. We're the 25th ranked offense in the NBA. We're missing three starters. We're the 29th ranked defense in the NBA. We're missing three starters. And the Jazz got beat early and often and were really never in this. I mean, they were in the game, but they certainly were never in control. They never had the spurt we were waiting for. They never kind of took control of the game. Give the Pistons a great deal of credit. Kevin Knox hits 6 threes. Bojan hits AB on a massive three late. They do the things that they need to do to win. But if we're just isolating the Jazz, this is a tough one to swallow.
It was really a tough one to swallow, but David, right from the get-go, the Jazz were playing uphill against this team. It's a little different in that first quarter than it was the second quarter, because that first quarter they seemed like they were outrunning the Jazz. If I remember correctly, they had, 36 points in the paint in that first quarter or something like that. And then in the third quarter, there was 7 for 11, in the paint. So they outran the Jazz, I think, early and got the Jazz playing uphill, and they just couldn't get to the top.
There's a lot of pieces to this puzzle tonight, and it starts in numerous ways. We opened the broadcast tonight talking about defensive rebound. Jazz defensive rebound tonight was horrendous. No. They allowed the Pistons to get 41% of their misses in the first quarter. They allowed the Pistons to have 41% of their misses in the second quarter. And in the third quarter, they still were getting 41% of their misses. At one point, second chance points was 15-2 tonight. This is not a team, as Will Hardy said in pregame, that has a 15-rebound game night. So that as they're scrambling defensively and switching, rebounding has to be a group team effort. And right now, it is not a good enough group team effort.
Yeah, we don't have the luxury of having that guy that's going to get you 15 rebounds a night because of his size and his ability to rebound and more importantly, rebound out of his area, that type of thing. And as you mentioned, collectively, they have to get it done. I think, if I remember correctly, Vanderbilt is averaging at about 8.1, 8.2 or something like that, and that leads the team in rebounding. So it's not like you got that 12 or 13 a night guy, so everybody else has to get it done.
If you don't defensive rebound, you can't run.
Can't run. Yep, you can't run. Absolutely.
They did run at times. You thought Jared Vanderbilt ran well tonight.
Yeah. He is probably the one that will run and push the ball up the floor. And I'm sure Will likes to see that, especially if he gets someone that's going to run with him. What I'd like to see, though, David, is that you're going to have guys like Beasley that's going to run to the three-point line, which is absolutely great because he's a great three-point shooter. But I'd like to see someone else filling that lane as well to give him a couple of options of whether or not they can score.
The killer late in the game is Kevin Knox, who had 7 threes for the entire season. And since last year's trade deadline, when he was traded to Atlanta, was 12 of his last 53. Tonight, promptly buried 6 3-point shots.
3 of those coming from the corner. And if I remember correctly, it may have been more than that. But I know the 3 that came from the corners were huge, and they were right at the right time where the Jazz may have been within 3, and then he knocks down a 3, takes them back up 6, or they were within 6, and he takes them back up to 9, that type of thing. But they were just big. And so you look at that 3-point shooting field goal percentage at 24%, and you're thinking it's going to be one of those nights.
Well, they sure made those plays late in this ball game, and the Jazz did not. That would be the other side of the story, is the Jazz offense really disappeared late in this game. If we run back through the play-by-play of this one for a minute, and we'll get to the controversial play on the jump ball that doesn't get called and actually is a fairly big play in this game. The Jazz get it to 113-110 on a Jordan Clarkson field goal with a 3:49 now. Frankly, that was the first field goal in almost 3 minutes. But the Jazz had, because of Markkanen's free throw and Sexton's free throws, gotten back into it. The next possessions, Markkanen turns it over. Beasley misses an 11-footer. Alec misses a 3. Clarkson turns it over. Markkanen misses another 3. Clarkson misses another 3. Alec hits a layup with the game over. with 27 seconds left on time. We go goose eggs from 113-110 the rest of the way in this game, and that's really what cost the Jazz the game.
Yeah, that can't happen. I mean, this is too good of an offensive team, and for the most part, they usually get good shots. I mean, it's evident by the field goal percentage that they shoot. The three-point field goal percentage is always good. Free throw percentage is always good. But, this still is a collective effort that they use to win basketball games.
Is that a Mike Conley factor right there? The Jazz came into this game.
I'm kind of torn, David, with that. But I think that the looks that the Jazz, that they get for the most part, it's probably not. But Conley is such a huge factor in settling them down, getting into the right set for the most part. But some of the shots that they were missing were bad.
Because we saw a bunch of isolation. Markkanen's not a good isolation player.
Definitely not.
We suddenly changed. We really changed the way we were playing there.
Yeah, we did that in Los Angeles there as well. To the point where early in the ball game everything's clicking. You're moving the basketball and you're running. You're getting the type of shots, and then late in the ball games, the fourth quarter or something like that, all of a sudden you seem like the effort changes, and that's not what the Jazz need or what they want. You could tell that Will was a little concerned with that by the way he ran shoot-around this morning.
All right, I've got two crucial questions as we head to Thanksgiving that are a little tough to swallow if you've gotten comfortable with the Jazz winning games, as the Jazz have suddenly lost 5 of 7. So let me ask you those two crucial questions, Ron.
Mm-hmm.
We came into the game tonight 24th in the league defensively. Okay, so that's not good.
No.
We just allowed the 29th ranked offensive team in the league to have a 131 offensive ranking against us only because they got cold in the fourth quarter. They had a 145 offensive ranking through 3 quarters. The league average is like 113. I mean, that is hot. Crazy, crazy hot. Is there a chance that we're a really bad defensive team?
Yes, it is. It is a chance.
And that makes it hard to win games.
That makes it totally hard to win games. That means a team like this has to outscore other teams in order to win. And night in and night out with the team like the Jazz have, I can't see that happening.
We're 5-7 coming off 2. We've lost 5 of our last 7. In the middle are 2 of the most exhilarating wins. I said at the time, like one of the most fun weekends I've ever had as a play-by-play announcer with this team. The Phoenix win on Friday, the Portland win on Saturday. Really about as much fun as Jazz fans could possibly have. They were also down to the wire, ball bounce one way or the other, and you just grab. We've lost 5 of 7. Is there a chance that the 5 of 7 is, as we come out of Thanksgiving and head into the next, is actually the new normal? That the normal is not winning 12 out of 20, but the normal is losing 5 out of 7.
I'm not going to go that far and say that because I think the offense is good. So how many teams will we end up outscoring, which is something that the Jazz are going to have to do. I mean, they averaged 117 points a ball game. They scored 116 tonight and didn't play very well.
Fourth best offense in the league still.
And the field goal percentage is awfully good. They were shooting 50% throughout the game and ended up shooting 49% there for the ball game. So I think we're going to outscore teams, enough teams to the point where you're saying, well, if we do this and if we do that, that type of thing. It's maybe it's a little too early to to say.
It's good.
Something.
All right, that's good. 2 stars tonight.
Obviously,
Beasley's
Beasley has to be one. Boy, he's just lighting it up. And every time he knocks down a 3, I'm thinking,
didn't he?
Oh, he made 240 of those babies last year.
He had 11 rebounds tonight too. Is that right? I didn't see
11 rebounds, 5 assists. He had one heck of a basketball game, 29 minutes, and that's might be a high. No, I don't think so. I think
it's an interesting question the other night of whether you should move Malik Beasley into the starting lineup with Jordan Clarkson. And have Colin Sexton off the bench. Colin played 35 minutes tonight. He had 12 assists tonight. He had 17 points. I don't know what his plus-minus finished as. His plus-minus was minus 11 in those 35 minutes. Jordan's was minus 12, the two of them. So maybe, it's an interesting question. Who's your second star tonight? I think I know what mine is.
I don't think I'm going to give a second star tonight. If you're not going to give Sexton, then I don't think you're going to give
I'm going to give Walker Kessler for 5 block shots in 21 minutes tonight.
That would work, yeah.
I thought Walker had
7
his best game
rebounds,
in a little while.
7 rebounds and 5 block shots.
He impacted the game. They were pounding the rim, as you mentioned. They had 26 field goals in the paint area, purple paint, in the first 3 quarters. So I thought that Walker did a nice job taking that away. All right. That is our postcast tonight. Thanks very much for tuning in. Have a very happy Thanksgiving. We'll be back with you Friday.